Recently, I came across an incident where a sole bread earner in the family was admitted because of corona. He was in the ICU for almost 7-8 days back to back. His wife, who had no idea about the finances in the family, she was so tensed and she was so confused as to what is to be done. Is she supposed to focus on the hospital bills? Is she supposed to focus on her children? Is she supposed to focus on the EMIs which are to be paid for the house? Is she supposed to focus on the EMIs to be paid for the car? And she was so damn confused. What is to be done in that case? I hope this situation, God forbid, none of you should be in a position to face this. But if it does happen, are you prepared for such a thing? Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to another interesting video which is about health insurance. We do talk about a lot of finance concepts in many of our videos, but today's video is not about fun. It's about a serious topic which is health insurance, and unfortunately, a lot of us do ignore this part. So, I want everyone to understand the importance of health insurance in today's video. We are going to talk about a lot of things as to why we need health insurance. We are going to talk about what are the things, top 10 things that we should be checking out before buying any health insurance. So I feel this is a proper educational video which you must understand, and I appeal to everyone that this being a very important concept, please share this video with all your near and dear ones. So let's try and understand in the most simple manner as to what exactly do we mean by health insurance. It is nothing but a protection which is offered to you to get your expenses which you have already spent either reimbursed or they get directly paid by the insurance company. So I'll give you a simple example. There are two possibilities. Which are the two possibilities? Assume that there is a hospitalization. Possibility number one, you pay the entire hospital bill and that insurance company will repay the amount to you. Possibility number two is that the insurance company will directly pay the amount to the hospital. Okay, so that is called as a cashless. You might have heard this word, right? Now, is this coming up, like, is this one of the upcoming financial products or very recent financial product? Answer is absolutely no. Health insurance finds its presence way back in Kautilya's Arthashastra. After that, our Indian government introduced it originally for the central government employees, then to the state government employees. Finally, in 1986, it was opened for even the private sector employees. In 1999, even a regulatory authority which is named as IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, was also formed. So like we have SEBI for stock markets, we have IRDA for insurance sector. Okay, so with this basic understanding, whenever I talk about health insurance, please don't say that, "Arey, but we have LIC." You can't have LIC. You can have an insurance which is a life insurance, or you can have an health insurance. Ideally, you should have both. Why? Life insurance is the replacement of income of the deceased person. But health insurance will give you recovery of the expenses which you have spent on your hospitalization. Now let's understand the top 5 reasons as to why we should have a health insurance. I think I am my most important asset and I have to insure myself. And that's the whole and sole reason why I say that in my human balance sheet, I have to protect myself as the biggest human asset. Number 2 is that savings are saved. So you can imagine that if I take 6 lakh I take a year to earn 6 lakh rupees. I would take maybe 2 years to save those 6 lakh rupees. It would take just 7 to 8 days to spend those entire 6 lakh rupees in a hospital bill. So to save my savings, I need a health insurance. Number 3, to deal with medical inflation. Now what is this? So you can imagine that some person had taken a health insurance just like 5 years ago. Do you think that the hospital bill 5 years ago and today's hospital bill, that amount will be same? Answer is no. So like there is a general inflation in the economy, there will be inflation even in the medical bills. So it's not only important that you should have a health insurance, it's also important that you review the amount of health insurance. Number 4 is to fight lifestyle diseases. I'm sure everyone has experienced that in the second wave of corona, young people in the age of 20s, 30s also faced a lot of respiratory problem. There are many people who have problems like diabetes, BP, obesity in 30s also. So we have to accept this as a fact and we have to ensure that we have a proper health insurance to fight these lifestyle diseases. And the last one is that we have to insure ourselves early to stay secured. Now, what is this? As a thumb rule, our insurance premium is lower if we get ourselves insured early. And as and how we grow in age, then automatically our premiums go on increasing. So, very important, insure yourselves at a younger age. So, we are going to talk about top 10 things that you should keep in your mind before buying a health insurance. But wait, immediately there'll be many people who would be asking in the comment section that before buying health insurance or before buying Mediclaim, exactly what's the difference between these two? So, to be really honest, that's a long standing debate whether they are different or whether they are the same. Theoretically, if you ask me, there is a slight difference in between these two. I'll tell you quickly the background of Mediclaim. Originally, when Mediclaim came into picture, it was introduced just to cover the hospitalization expenses. Whereas health insurance covered not only hospitalization expenses, but some expenses which are incurred before hospitalization as well as after hospitalization. So, what do we mean by before hospitalization? It may cover some tests like blood test or something like that, right? But to compete with this product of health insurance, even Mediclaim started to offer this post hospitalization, pre hospitalization covers as well. So, now in today's scenario, practically there is as good as no difference between these two. Again, I'm repeating that theoretically there might be certain differences, but we are not going to talk about these. Now let's understand top 10 things that you should check before buying a health insurance. The very first one is cashless treatment. So this is specifically useful for those who might not have a lot of excess cash available with them in savings account, in FDs or whatever. So those who have comparatively less surplus can ideally go for a cashless treatment. Number 2 is the network of hospitals. Now what does that mean? Whenever you take out any insurance policy, they mention the network hospitals which are affiliated with that policy. So assume that you're staying in a specific place and the hospital which is covered in the network is at least 10 kilometers away from you. That won't make sense, right? So ensure that the hospital which is there in the network is very close to your house. Number 3 point is coverage for pre and post hospitalization. So I just told you some minutes ago that what is pre and post hospitalization. So pre hospitalization may include certain blood tests, they may include certain doctors consultation fees. Sometimes even these are covered in the policy. So check if your policy has these covered or not. Post hospitalization expenses can include therapy expenses. So something like, let us say there is an accident and post hospitalization you have to take a physiotherapy treatment. So check whether your policy covers such therapy treatments or not, right? Fourth one is the claim settlement ratio. So simple thumb rule, higher the better. So if I say that claim settlement ratio is 95%, it means that out of 100, 95 claims were honored. So check that the policy that you have chosen has a high claim settlement ratio. The next one is more than hospitalization. So if you're talking about a scenario where, let us say, your grandparents are hospitalized, it may happen that after they are discharged from the hospital, they might have to take up something like a daycare facility. Are such expenses covered in your policy or not? They can also be checked. So typical facilities like daycare facilities, maybe maternity facilities, all these can also be covered in a policy. So check if your policy has these or not. Next one is the restoration benefit. Now this is a very nice feature. So assume a case A, where you have separate policies for the bread earner, for his wife and 2 children. Okay, then you have 4 policies. Versus a case where there is a umbrella or there is a cover, a family plan where all are covered under a single policy. Plus this policy has a restoration benefit. Means what? Let's understand. Let's say that Mr. A in this entire case falls sick, he is hospitalized and he consumes the limit of 5 lakh, which is the insured limit. Okay. Now what does the insurance company do is that they will restore that amount. Now, restored for whom? Let's say his wife is also required to be hospitalized after a few days. Again, she can use that 5 lakhs ka cover. God forbid, but if their children are also required to be hospitalized after a few days, they again would get a 5 lakhs ka cover. But then what is not covered? Assume that that person gets hospitalized, 5 lakhs cover is over, that same person is again hospitalized. Now, this will not be covered. Okay, I hope you have understood the concept of restoration benefit. You should check whether this is there in your policy or not. The next one is a co-pay clause. What is this? Some insurance policies may say you should pay a certain specific percentage and we will pay a specific percentage. Don't go ahead for such policies. Either you pay whole amount or you go for a cashless. Don't go for like half co-pay clause or something like that. Next one is an insurance cap. So you might have a full 5 lakhs ka cover as an example, but the policy may state that for maternity benefit only 50,000 is the highest amount that will pay. Okay, so be careful, read those small clauses for checking out the insurance cap. Next one is a waiting period. Now what is this? Let me give you a recent example. So far, if I'm talking about corona, there are certain policies that if you are taking out a health insurance, they will say that there is a 30 days waiting period for corona. Just as an example, if I take out my policy today, and God forbid, but tomorrow if I get infected by corona, then I will not be covered in that health insurance policy. Okay, so be sure whenever you are buying a new insurance product, whether there is a waiting period or not, that needs to be checked by you. And the last one is no claim bonus. So assume that if you pay for your premiums and thankfully you are not hospitalized, don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad that my premium is gone. It's for your good. Next year, whenever you want to renew your policy, ideally the insurance company will say that this year pay a lesser premium, and that lesser premium is nothing but your no claim bonus. So ensure that you check all these points before buying any health insurance. After listening to all these 10 points, you might be wondering whether there is a specific website wherein I can get all the data at one place. And the answer is yes, that's policybazaar.com. In this website, you can have a look at more than 250 plans to choose from. Through Policy Bazaar, you can get instant insurance worth 5 lakh rupees, and that just to at approximately 300 rupees per month. Once you click on view features, you will see all these points explained all at one place. And you can even know if the policy covers COVID treatment or not. You can also compare various schemes if you just click on compare options. You can get 100% claim assistance and a dedicated relationship manager. So if you want to check out Policy Bazaar, just check out the link in the description box. So two things that you should avoid while taking out a health insurance are, the very first one is that very well remember in your mind, it's a protection product and not an investment product. There will be some people who will say, Arey, it's a 2-in-1 product which will ensure this much percentage return and also your health. No, these are two different things. Don't mix them up. Number one. Number two, please don't hide any pre-existing diseases. There have been cases where people said, Arey, why to disclose that we already have diabetes? Unnecessary, the premium amount is high. And that's why they kept it as a secret. And when there was a claim, that claim got dishonored. In addition to that, such accounts get even blacklisted, so that they might have to face a lot of hindrances while renewing their policy, and unnecessarily they will have to pay a higher premium at a later stage. So please ensure that you don't do any of these two things while taking out your health insurance. So many people have a question in their mind that does their existing health insurance policy cover corona or not? So as per the current IRDAI guidelines, it is mandatory for all the insurance companies to give a reimbursement for the corona disease, right? But if you are newly applying for any health insurance policy, then there might be a waiting period. I just told you about the waiting period like just a few minutes ago, right? So ensure whether there is a waiting period or not before you take up a new insurance policy. There might be some people who might say that we are not really bothered about other diseases. We just want a pure corona related protection. So are there any policies which are focusing only and only on this disease? Answer is yes. There are two policies. The very first one is Corona Kavach. There is one known as Corona Rakshak. If you want to know about these policies more in detail, I have written a separate blog on my website, rachanaranade.com. So let's understand now that are there any tax benefits if you actually take a health insurance or not. There is a separate section, section 80D of Income Tax Act, which gives us an exemption up to 25,000 rupees if you are an individual below 60 years. If you are taking out an insurance for your parents who are above 60 years, so scenario 2 is that you are below 60 years and your parents are above 60 years, then you will get an exemption up to 75,000 in total. Why? You are 25,000 and your parents 50,000. If we are talking about a scenario 3 where you are also above 60 years and obviously your parents are also above 60 years, in that case, you will get an exemption up to 1 lakh rupees because you're 50,000 rupees and your parents 50,000 rupees. One important point to be noted here is that if you are paying your premiums in cash, then no deduction will be available. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. This was, I guess, the first video which did not have even like 0.1% of fun, but I feel this was an important video about your overall awareness about finances. So please share this video with your friends. Take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.